Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 106. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Today, we are going to talk about your healing journey as the curriculum. So, before any of that, let me introduce myself. My name is Lisa Espinosa. I am a spiritual career coach, and I help my clients, my students, anyone that's drawn to my work to learn how to connect with their soul every day so that from that place you can share your unique gifts, your your healing energy, what I call your soul's medicine. And furthermore, how to do that without depletion or overwhelm. And that's a whole journey, right? It's a whole journey. And so wherever you are with that, whether you're in the aspect of it where you're more focused on healing your mental, emotional, and physical body, whether you're out there in front of people, sharing your gifts through your career, wherever you are is perfect because your soul knows exactly what it is you need. Your soul knows exactly the steps you're meant to take so that you can fulfill your mission. And often your mission doesn't look the way you think it's supposed to look. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, Suzanne. And so I want you to think about your healing journey. And you can either reflect on the past, kind of think back like, okay, what has my healing journey included? Now, this could be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Usually it's a little bit of all of it. Or maybe you're in the midst of one right now. Like you're right now, like knee deep in some aspect of your healing journey, whether it's you or a loved one that you're very close to that's going through it. And of course, that's part of your healing journey as well. And so when you think about that, and then you think about it being a curriculum. And when I mean curriculum, what do I mean? A syllabus, an agenda, an outline of the lessons, the teachings, the practices, the emotions that you came here to master, to refine. And so if you've been any classes you've taken, middle school, or I know some of you are in different parts of the world, but like college, a lot of times when you're about to start a class, let's say you're taking a Spanish class or a chemistry class or whatever class, the professor will often give you, right, like this handout, or a lot of times now it's digital, where you're like, okay, this is the curriculum. This is week 1, week 2, week 3. Oh, then I'm going to take a quiz. Oh, then I'm going to take a test. Oh, now I have to submit a paper. All of that. But if you think about that, we did that as well before we came into our life, that we sat there with our soul and decided upon the details of this curriculum, of this journey. And I know that depending on how your healing journey has been or where you are right now, that can feel very challenging to accept. Because I know that, yeah, it can feel like, why would I choose that? Especially if you're going through something right now. Hello, Summer. I'm glad you made it live today. Great. But if we are really committed to our spiritual journey, and we truly believe that we are sovereign beings, that we have free will, that there isn't a God in heaven that's like, okay, you're gonna experience this pain, and you're gonna experience a happy life, and you're gonna be really lucky, and you're gonna be really unlucky. Like that, I don't believe that's how the divine is, even though sometimes through our logical mind, our intellect, it can feel that way. But if we remember that we are sovereign beings, that we are a soul having a human experience, and that our human life is like the school in a way, right? School is in session every day. And then it's like, oh, I came up with this curriculum. And sometimes just accepting that is part of the healing, just having so much compassion for ourselves and having so much like, what is the word? Almost awe, like, oh my gosh, we chose this. And so I can share, for the last weeks or so, I've been on this healing journey with my husband, Greg, where he's been on a medical healing journey, just very out of nowhere body, and went to the doctor, and it was one of those things of like, oh, it's probably nothing, but then it just kept going, right? Like, we'll take this blood test, and once this blood test comes back, then we'll know. But then I was like, the blood test is back. Oh, do this kind of little biopsy thing. And then it was like that came back, and I was like, oh, now do this ultrasound. It was like this, it's been this like ongoing journey. And so that part of the healing journey for me has been this other level of being with uncertainty. Like, I recognize, like, oh my gosh, this is, the curriculum for me is like, oh, as you go through this with Greg, it's like being with the uncertainty each step of the way, right? Every time we search for clarity, it didn't come. Every time that we were like, okay, like this is going to finally make it clear and cancel out the really scary things, that wasn't happening. Every time it was like, oh, you need another test and another test and another test. So it's been these 8 weeks of being with uncertainty. And I have had many parts of my curriculum that have included that. So it's not my first time with it, but it's different. There's another level, another refinement. And so being with uncertainty is one of the most challenging things for the human mind. So I know, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is part of the curriculum. So I'm inviting you to reflect as well for you. And please understand, this does not mean that we don't feel our feelings. So it doesn't mean that I was like, ooh, exciting. This is part of my curriculum. Great. What lesson am I learning? This is so awesome. No, I had many times where I felt sad, and I felt scared, and I felt worried, and I felt frustrated. And I was like, why is this continuing to happen? Why don't we have clarity? I had my feelings, and I made space for my feelings, but I also kept coming back to, okay, wait, I know that this must be part of my curriculum, part of what I'm here to teach, to learn, to teach, to help lead others through. And there is, once we get past perhaps the frustration, right? Of like, why would I choose this? Why would I choose this? It's so difficult. It's so challenging. And this is, one example. There's been others in my life. But once we acknowledge those very human feelings, but then go to this place of like, and also, if I believe this is part of the curriculum, let me talk to my soul about this. Because once we do that, once we acknowledge it, then we have more power, even if at first it feels overwhelming. And so I want to share with you these steps here that I was thinking of. I have my notes here because I was like, I want to make sure to share the steps of how do you do this? Whether you're reflecting back on the past, if you're like, oh gosh, yeah, I'm thinking about when I went through this or went through that. Or if you're in the middle of it now, which I wouldn't be surprised if there's something that you're going through now. There's, this is the year of the wood dragon. So there's so much. And this time of year, there's like so much that's coming up for the collective, for humanity to look at and clear and cleanse and purge and detoxify, all designed to really plant us deeply into our, highest timeline, or the path that's going to bring us the most blessings and help us bless the most people. And that's something I forgot to say in the beginning. So I believe everyone has a divine curriculum. And it's particularly important for those of you who are helpers, who are healers, who are wellness professionals. A lot of my clients are, other coaches or therapists or body workers, or even if they're not doing that work, they have a huge prayer, intention, longing to help humanity. So they're the helpers of the world. So when you are one of those people, then your divine curriculum is going to be very specifically tailored for that. Just like, when you go to college, if you're going to be a doctor or you're going to be an engineer, one of my daughters studied industrial design. One of my daughters studied journalism. Very different curriculum that they got when they went to college. Right? It's very different classes because The school knew, right? The professors knew, okay, to be an industrial designer, she needs to take all of these classes, right? I have no idea what they were because that's not what I studied. And then my other daughter, who's like, to be a journalist, oh, I know that involved a lot of English classes, writing classes, all of that. And so it's the same. So for all of us who are helpers, healers, spiritual teachers, even if you're not doing that work right now, then your curriculum was very specific. It's like, okay, what does she need to master, to heal, to refine, to understand, to clear up, so that that part of her medicine can be released, so that she can do the work she's here to do. So going through this with Greg, even though I've already felt like, and that was part of my frustration, I was like, I already have been with uncertainty. Not that I felt like I was a master at it, but I was kind of like, I don't need another lesson of this. But clearly, if my soul said I did, then I did, right? It was, and so, but then I understood, like, oh gosh, yeah, feeling all the feelings, all the ways my ego structure wants to control and wants to figure out, like, and wants guarantees that this is going to work or this is what it's going to be. And then recognizing that's my ego structure, like trying to control. This is my soul. I can come back to the certainty of my soul. Like that helps me be present for my clients, my students, for everyone in my orbit as they're going through that. Right? So these are the steps. First, I invite you to reflect on one aspect of your healing journey. And when I say reflect, really what I'm saying, ask your soul to show you one aspect of it. And allow it to be whatever it is. Maybe it's something you're going through right now. Maybe it's something you went through 5 years ago that just comes up in your mind and you're like, oh, I must still be working through that somehow, right? So pick one. And then you're going to ask the question, what part of my gifts, my contribution, my soul's medicine, that's what I call it, was being activated, awakened, catalyzed, expanded, magnified through that experience? Now, I said a lot of words there. You don't have to answer all of those different words, but just kind of see which one resonates for you. So I already shared with this medical journey with Greg, my husband, it's like, for sure, one of my aspects of my medicine, which I've practiced many, many times in my lifetime, is being with uncertainty, holding the trust and the faith through uncertainty. And so I know, like, oh, this is another level of that being refined for me, right? And some of the ways that you can understand this, that you can ask is, be curious, is like, when you think about that experience, what part of it was easier for you than it is perhaps for others? And that was really interesting. When I asked myself that question, I realized that even though these past 8 weeks, yes, there's been moments where I'm like, frustrated or overwhelmed or feeling scared or worried, I also recognized that there were a lot of times where I wasn't. There were a lot of times where I just really felt trust and peace and felt like whatever it is, we're protected, we're taken care of. That was most of the time. So I could recognize, oh, I've really practiced that muscle well, that muscle of surrender. And clearly my soul wants to practice it even more, wants me to practice it even more. Right? So ask yourself, and it's a very powerful question, because when we just look at our own life, it's easy for us to be like, oh, I'm just so slow. I'm so behind. This is so hard for me. I just kind of see it through this lens of like failure or not good enough. But your soul never looks at you that way. So ask, okay, what parts of this am I actually excelling at, doing better at than a lot of people would have? Not to judge other people, but just to recognize that. And then you can ask, what was the hardest part of that healing journey? What was the hardest part for you? Was it, it might have been like, well, the hardest part was feeling like other people were judging me. That was the hardest part. Or maybe the hardest part was your own self-judgment. That was the hardest part. Or the hardest part was feeling like I was so alone and isolated. and just kind of notice, what was the hardest part? What did you learn? These are all questions that to ask your soul. And I'll do a little journey where I guide you through these questions, but I want to anchor them in first. What was refined? So the spiritual journey, particularly the divine feminine leadership, divine feminine service, divine feminine way of being in the world, is you perfect as you go, you refine as you go, right? As opposed to this very rigid, I must have it all figured out, then I can do something. No, it's refine as you go. So that question, what was refined? So for me, I recognize, oh, even though I have had a lot of experiences, one of my daughters being really sick, leaving my, full-time job as a teacher with a regular paycheck, that was uncertain. What was I going to do after that? Was my business going to take off? Was I going to get any clients? I mean, there was so much uncertainty in that, right? There was so much uncertainty when I got divorced, which was like over 25 years ago. There was a lot of uncertainty in that. And so I've been with uncertainty, even relocating to Mexico, right? A whole other country. So I've built that muscle. And yet in this situation with Greg, it's like, oh, there's another refinement, because it's very similar actually to when I went through this with my daughter. I mean, a whole different situation, but this same feeling of like the stakes feel very high, right? It's like, oh, like, and so me being able to witness those parts of me that can panic, right? Can get into a real panic, and then feeling what the ego mind tries to do, control, figure out, or detach, or disassociate, or buffer, right? Distract myself with other things, like observing that, right? So that was being refined for me through those 8 weeks. And so you think about what was being refined for you. Maybe what was being refined for you was self-love or patience with yourself. Even if you were like, oh, I just felt so impatient with myself, but you recognize, but I had to keep coming back to patience with myself. Like maybe that's what's being refined. What was being released through that journey for you? One thing that I recognized through this is that it really helped. It pushed me to reflect on my life, on all those moments when I've had really intense transformations and intense experiences, and look back and recognize that even now, when I look back, sometimes I can still look back with judgment of myself, or maybe judgment's a little too strong of a word, but definitely not like, wow, I got through that. That's amazing. Right. And I really felt like my soul through this is like, really look back, has been guiding me to really look back and see, like, look at where you were, how challenging that situation was, and how you got through the other side. And on the other side, you had more capacity to love, to serve, to help. Like, it's like my soul is like giving me like pep talks, right? It's like saying, whatever this is, you're going to be able to handle it. You're going to be able to do it. You not only handle it, you're going to thrive through it, because look at all those other things, right? And so that's been something for me, is like releasing kind of my dismissal of those, but also the other question is like, what are you embracing? And embracing like this knowing of like, whatever this is, I will be able to. And when I say I mean I with my soul and my guardian angels, Greg's soul, guardian angels, the ascended masters, all of the divine support that we have. I don't mean like all on my shoulders, right? It's like, yeah. So we're going to do a little inner journey just to ask for you to ask your soul. And maybe as you heard me speak, you were like, oh gosh, I kind of know what this is about for me. But I'll guide you through the questions. And please know that your soul, whenever you enter into a conversation with your soul is always eager and ready to talk to you. Your soul's not like, well, prove yourself, or talk to me later, I'm busy, or I don't want to talk about this right now. Like, that is our soul. Your soul's always like, oh my gosh, you want to talk to me? awesome. I'm here. Oh, I love talking to you. I love providing guidance and answers. However, a couple of things. Sometimes we get in the way, right? We're so nervous about the answer or doubtful about our ability to get the answer that we ask questions and we're like, oh my gosh, I didn't hear anything. I don't know if that was true. I don't know if that was right. So what I guide you to do as I'm saying the questions, just receive. Just know that the answers are landing in your heart and they will be revealed at just the right time if you don't hear them now. And then the other thing is that sometimes, I'm kind of getting into other teachings of this, but sometimes your soul answers you in a way that might seem unrelated to the question. I've learned this over the past 15 years. And it's really important to not dismiss that. So if you ask a question and the answer you receive is, I don't know, go take a walk in that garden later or something like that, or you see an image of yourself taking that walk and you're like, well, that's not the answer to my question. It's like, well, because your soul knows when you take that walk in that garden, you're going to be much more open to receiving the answer. And you'll be like, oh, yeah. And so that's one of the things that I often see that people do. And I used to do this too until finally I'm like, why would you do that, soul? If you say you always want to talk to us and I'm asking you a question and you respond in this way that feels disconnected, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't believe my soul's trying to torture me or is being on purpose vague to punish me or torture me or keep me dangling and like, what? So then when I asked that question, my soul was very clear. It's like, because sometimes the answer is a step you need to take so that you can fully receive the answer. Okay, so I just wanted to say that. And also, if you do get an answer and you're like, I heard an answer or I saw an answer, however your soul speaks to you, but then you're like, but I'm not sure. Was it my soul? Was it my ego? Did I make it up? I don't know. Ask your soul to send you validation. Say, okay, beautiful soul, I heard this, but you know me and my mind that has a lot of doubt. So please, please, please send me signs through nature, through my dreams, through what other people say, through books, through music, through oracle cards, just like, just keep validating that I'm hearing the right thing, right? And so don't be afraid to ask for signs. And so before we do the meditation, I want to remind you that Blessed, the 6-week introductory course, the doors are still open. We started on Monday. It was such a beautiful class. This is all about, it's actually so connected to what we're talking about. What I described in the first class was the state of embodying, not just thinking I'm blessed, but letting it be in your body, is being able to be in that resonance, that frequency, no matter what is happening outside of you. Kind of like what Jesus said, the peace that passes all understanding, which is, a lot of spiritual masters have said that. And I really broke that down. Like, well, what exactly does that mean? How do we do that? Mother Mary is the master teacher in this. She's the one who gave me that mantra of you are blessed and you are a blessing. That's what inspired the 6-week journey. And so I really simplified the teachings the most I have ever done. Really came up with this, what I'm calling this blessed formula of like, this is how that happens. And what happens when you practice embodying a blessed state? Like, what happens to your physical body actually as you practice this? One of the things I'll let you know, a bonus here, is that your physical body is able to hold more light, more of your soul's light. It's like you become a stronger light bulb. Right. And there's so many other things, but I really designed a 6-week journey to be like a refresh, a recalibration, a deep container of nurturing. So I led this amazing inner journey with Mother Mary in this beautiful temple that we created together, where, I won't tell you all the details, but she really shows us her beautiful mind and helps us to look at our own mind and kind of pluck out the thoughts that don't serve us. And then she does this amazing transformation, like where these thoughts come from, right? And so that's like a place for you to receive. Then I pulled a goddess card for each person so they knew, okay, what goddess is with them until we meet next week. So anyway, I'm telling you all these things because the doors are still open till next week. So it's $99 for the 6-week journey. I'm never going to offer this level of support. What I'm thinking is that this 6-week journey is going to eventually become like a mini course, but it's not going to have all of the elements that it has this time, right? I did it at this price for my current clients so that it would be a nice refresh for them, a boost, and also for all of you who've ever thought, I want to do something a little longer with her. I want to see what that would feel like. I wanted to make it an easy yes. So it's $99, 6 weeks, 90 minutes each class. You get the replay. There's meditations, there's activations. The last day is this beautiful, gorgeous ceremony I'm so excited about already. And there's 2 bonuses. One is a private WhatsApp group where I'm sharing inspiring music, oracle cards, little videos just for the women. There's 16 of us right now. So, and then also you get a $15 coupon code for if you refer someone and they join for a upcoming class. Okay? If you have any questions, feel free to email me about it. I'll put the link in the comments of the registration. And if you're like, because I had a couple of people that are like, I really, really, really want to take it, but I just have this like one question, and then we could just hop on WhatsApp or on Zoom for 15 minutes, and just I can answer your question, right? So let's go ahead and go within. Okay. Take some cleansing breaths. And as you do, just take a moment to feel the earth underneath your feet. Just set that intention. I am going to stay grounded and connected to beautiful Mother Earth during this inner journey. And then I invite you to bring the palms of your hands over your heart center. And as your hands are over your heart center, welcome your beautiful soul to be here. Just say, thank you, soul. I want to have this conversation with you. And now imagine this beautiful light emanating from your heart. In front of you, there's this beautiful path. And so now you're standing on this golden path. And right in front of you appears this beautiful desk with this beautiful chair. And you're invited to sit on this chair at this desk. And you see this paper, this like beautiful paper, and it says your name. So like mine, say Lisa's curriculum. Lisa's divine curriculum. So yours might say Suzanne's divine curriculum, right? Summer's divine curriculum, Jill's divine curriculum, Jan's divine curriculum, whatever your name is, fill in the blank, right? It's like, oh my gosh. And so you look at this paper that at first is blank, and there's all this golden light around you, right? It's this very sacred space. And now as you look at the paper, all these like symbols, golden symbols start to appear on the paper. And it's almost like it's not static. They're moving, right? So there might be spirals that are moving, and there might be triangles that are moving throughout the page. And you're just looking at this. It's this form of soul language, light language that is appearing on the paper. And you're asking your soul, beautiful soul, show me one aspect of my healing journey. Maybe it's one you're in now or one in the past, but just say, show me. And so then when you say that, suddenly in the middle of the paper, it's just this golden light because your soul is now focusing on one. And remember, you might see the details or just receive the energy. You'll receive the details later. But now that you know which aspect it is, you're going to ask, okay, what did this part of my healing journey, what did it teach me? Or what is it teaching me? What did it help me release? Or what is it helping me to release? What part of my gifts, my soul's medicine, is this aspect of my healing journey activating or magnifying or expanding? Like, how is your soul's medicine, those unique gifts that you came here to share with the world, how are they being blessed through this part of your healing journey? And then saying, like, what was the hardest part for me? Or what is the hardest part for me? And hear that, because that holds clues. Like, ask beautiful soul, what is the hardest part? And maybe your soul's like, the hardest part is having patience with yourself, loving yourself, trusting yourself. And so then that gives you the clue that, like, oh, that must be part of the gift I'm here to give others. And now, as you got those answers, just say, beautiful soul, is there anything else you want me to know about this curriculum that I wrote for myself? Is there anything else? And then ask, beautiful soul. And I'm feeling actually beautiful Guadalupe, I have the statue of Our Lady of Guadalupe, this other aspect of Mother Mary, of the Divine Mother. And so she's coming in, this Divine Mother energy. And we're asking her, as the beautiful, good mother that she is, right? Beautiful Mother Mary, beautiful Guadalupe, beautiful Kuan Yin, whatever resonates with you. I welcome your grace, your blessing, your help through my curriculum, through this healing journey. And so I'm seeing it as Guadalupe, like she is behind me with her rays of light standing in front of you. And she's just beaming this light over you and beaming this light over this paper, blessing every aspect of your curriculum. And also, this is so interesting. She's like taking her hand and she's like, yep, that can go, that can go. It's like grace, right? It's like, you already learned enough of that. We're taking that out. We're taking that out. So that's coming out. I'm hearing this is a little preview of what we'll do in class 2 of the blessed class next week. And so coming back to your heart, thank your beautiful soul. Thank the Divine Mother in whatever aspect she was here for you. I thank you, beautiful Guadalupe. And feel their gratitude towards you as you come back to this moment, come back to your seat, wherever you are, in your house or wherever you are, car, walking. And I ask your soul to help you integrate all these insights and downloads across all 4 levels of your being: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, across all dimensions of time. We bring the palms of our hands together and we bow to each other in our own heart. We end with a namaste. Namaste, everyone. I'm going to drink a little tea. That was so lovely. I loved how Our Lady of Guadalupe just came and was like simplifying the curriculum. That was very lovely. I'm going to have to tune into that some more. If you want to share anything in the chat, or if you're watching the replay in the comments, please go ahead and do so. Whichever it was, like, what you were learning, what it's expanding in you. Or maybe you heard something, you're like, I don't quite get how it's connected, but I saw this symbol, or I saw this image, or I felt this emotion. Just notice. Remember, your soul is not being vague on purpose. Your soul is very precise and wise. So if there's something that you're like, I saw a tree, I have no idea why, understand that that's important and symbolic. So you can just keep asking that question. Tell me more about that tree. What is that about? All right, so I'm going to pull two cards. One from Wild Woman Rising. Oh, some are saying surrounding beauty, seeing beyond the physical. That's a great part of the learning there, Summer, and that must be part of your soul's medicine, which is such an important part. Seeing beyond the physical, right? I feel, thank you for sharing that, because I feel like you just clarified for me some of what I'm learning through this initiation that I'm going through is like, it's like what Jesus said, right? Being in the world, but not of it. It's like we do have physical eyes and we see, right? We see, right? That includes seeing a diagnosis, right? That we might see. But then we also have our inner eyes that sees beyond that to the truth. So I love that, Summer. I do want to say about Blessed, please do not let it hold you back if you can't attend the classes live. There's a few people in there who can't, who will be doing the replays or maybe can attend only one live. You're still part of the group. You're still co-creating the healing temple. I will pull oracle cards for you and send you the email with the images. So if you're feeling called, don't hold back on that. All right, so let's go. Enchanted. No, this is not Enchanted Forest. This is Wild Woman Rising. Did I already show you? I'm like, here we go. What is the mess? Oh my goodness, this one. Ooh. I just recently pulled this card. Number 13, Fight Like a Girl. Look at this. So this is a whole twist on that, horrible, like, oh, you fight like a girl or whatever. But this is like, yeah, fight like a girl. Like, that's your power, right? Those divine feminine attributes, beauty, intuition, flow, divine surrender, quantum leaps, magnetism, right? It's like, oh, this is what your soul is saying. That's how you move forward. Don't, push those away because the world does, right? The world's like, oh, no, you need to be really logical and intellectual, and this is how you do it. And it's like, no, this is saying like, fight like a girl, like the woman that you are. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull another one, Enchanted Forest, and then we shall be done. Okay. Okay. The key. I've never gotten this card. Okay. All you do with ease and enthusiasm is the path to your goal. Actions are secondary. Make the energy within your primary focus. Do not underestimate the little joys. I love this card so much. Look at this. The key. Look at this beautiful, like hobbits, or what are they? I can't read the little word. But this is so important because in this week's class in Blessed, Mother Mary was really reminding us how it's not our actions that create our results. It's our thoughts. And our thoughts create our feelings, right? When you think, I'm behind, that creates a certain feeling in your body, which then creates certain actions, which then creates certain results. But when you think, I'm exactly where I need to be, that creates a different feeling in your body, which creates a different action and creates different results. So I love this couple here that's like the key. And I love this. Do not underestimate the little joys. So really pay attention. I feel like that's like a big part of this message. It's so easy for us to focus on the disappointments or sorrows or uncertainties or whatever. And it's like, focus on the little joys, right? The little joy. What is that saying? Small hinges open big doors. This is what I'm hearing. These little joys open the big joys. All right. Thank you, everyone. It's always so great to be with you. I will be with you next week. And the doors for Blessed close next week. So I would love to talk to you, to see you, to connect with you. Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.